Hello, this is Indupriya. Yesterday we saw how our karma can be changed and how the way we think or our thought process can be controlled when we are devoted to God. And even if someone is controlled without being devoted to God, how at times those control can be loosened. So we understood that we have to be devoted to God. That's when our control will always be under control so that our consciousness and thought won't be changing. And today, let's see what new we'll be learning. In this earth, every single human being here, they have the false consciousness, which is we are actually attached to the material nature. We are attached to this earth, we are attached to the things that is surrounding us. It can be any material or it can be a person, it can be something which is not going to be there tomorrow and it is present today. So Bhagavad Gita, it was mainly spoken because God wanted us to come out of this bodily conception of life. That is to come out of all these thoughts of attachment that we have for things. And if someone thinks that I am a product of the material nature, that is, I belong only to the earth, then that is a false thought and that is not true and it's a false ego. That is what God is saying. In the war of Kurukshetra, Arjuna, he was put in this kind of thought, but he normally was very knowledgeable. But in Kurukshetra's battle, he was put under this kind of thought so that he'll question Lord Krishna about every information about life so that God would answer about every single thing. So people who are coming generation after generation will understand how we have to lead our life and how we can reach God and not have another life on this earth with some other body. Body can be of your human or any other animals also. In the same way, what God wants us to do is when we are perfectly devoted to God and follow everything that God has said us in Bhagavad Gita, then that is the meaning that we will reach God after this life once we leave this material body which we are right now, which is not going to be permanent. We can either go to a different location. For example, you can have a permanent life for your soul. That is, it can be any place which you want to go exactly the before time of dying. The last thought that you have, that is where you are going to go. The last thought, if you think, I want to be a bird, I want to be a dog, I want to be a any kind of animal or again a human or plant, your soul is going to go there. In the same way, if someone is thinking of God that is in Devalok, they will go to Devalok. If someone is thinking of God that is in Vaikuntha, that is Lord Krishna, you guys will go to Lord Krishna. That is what Bhagavad Gita is saying. And that place of Vaikuntha or where the three main god are there. Not all the three main god are in Vaikuntha, but yeah, one example is Vaikuntha. So that liberation of our soul from this material body and going to where our supreme god is there, that is actually called mukti. And every single person need liberation from their body to get mukti. So, to have mukti, we have to be free from material consciousness, which means the attachment that you have for this earth, for everything around you, should be released. This will happen once when you are devoted to God. That is, when you are, that is, if I have to explain you how this is, imagine you have crazily fallen in love with someone and the moment you wake up, you think about them. The time you go before bed, you think about them. The whole day, you think about them. All you want is to see them, be with them, and you want to spend your whole life with them. In the same way, having bhakti to God or being devoted to God does not mean that you're discriminating people on this earth or you're discriminating the environment that you are. It is just that you are as normal as what you are right now, but the bhakti for God is nothing like the love you have for a person which is so unconditional. In the same way, it is just the love that you have for God, so unconditional, so that every moment of your life, whenever, whatever thing you're doing, you think about God so much so that you don't do any mistake, and you will be in Krishna consciousness. In Krishna consciousness, you won't do any mistake. That is what is said in Bhagavad Gita by Lord Krishna. Bhagavad Gita is nothing but what Lord Krishna is actually speaking to us. So, all we have to understand is to have mukti and to have a non contaminated consciousness, to have a pure consciousness, all we have to do is have a bhakti towards God. That is, be very devotional to God, and especially the Supreme God. The Supreme God can be three. According to Bhagavad Gita, they say mainly Lord Krishna, but still, Lord Krishna, in many parts of Bhagavad Gita, he has said, you can call me Krishna, Brahman, Ishvara, Paramatma. There are so many words for God, which means Krishna himself is saying that yes, there are three different gods, we are named so, and if you want to believe, if you want to ask me what name should I term you, he is giving you an option. You can call me any of these three, and if you are perfectly thinking about us the whole life, or even before the minute you die, it means you will come to me. It means you will have liberation, you will get mukti. That is what is said here. And the reason we have this consciousness in us is because and the reason we have this consciousness in us is because we are part and parcels of God. That is why God is superiorly, highly conscious, supremely conscious. But us, we have a little bit of it, that's why we can be conscious. And that conscious can be affected by the material world. That is why when we are devoted, we will be Krishna consciousness. So we won't do anything that is against the law. We will follow whatever is said by God. That is when our consciousness will be purified. That is what is said in Bhagavad Gita here. And in the end of Bhagavad Gita, I don't know when we'll go to the end, but yeah, in the end of Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna asks Arjuna whether if he is in purified consciousness. Purified consciousness, here they've explained it as acting in accordance with the instruction of the Lord. So, which means if you follow whatever God has said you, then you can have the proper pure consciousness instead of being materially conscious. So today for today this is enough, and mainly what we read today is to be conscious. And being conscious, there can be two types: a person who is conscious without the bhakti and with bhakti. And if someone is with bhakti, their consciousness will be purified forever, because we are always conscious that we are doing every single work on the name of God, so I must not make any mistake and follow what God has asked me to do. In the same way, a person who is not under devotion, even though he is conscious at a part to be the nicest person, somewhere he may fall down, somewhere he may be trapped. That is the reason when you are conscious with God, then you can never make a mistake, because God won't allow you to make a mistake. So a proper way to get mukti or liberation is only one way: to be devoted to God with all your bhakti, so that you will follow everything God has said. Thank you.